Spring is probably the most interesting season in the game. You probably are thinking, what? No, it's just rain and lightning. There's nothing really interesting about that, but you would actually be wrong. There are a lot more behind the scenes things that occur in spring that you may not have noticed. And I'll see if I can convince you that spring is the most interesting season in Don't Starve Together. First thing you may notice is bees. They turn red and aggressive. Things won't start punching you out of the blue, sadly, but you will see things will chase the player for much longer. Creatures like spiders and bees will chase the player much longer than they normally would. The range they chase at is increased by 1.33 times, and you can see that here with this spider. Other creatures affected by this as well are bees, killer bees, narwhals, merms, mermguards, mosquitoes, pig guards, rock lobsters, small birds, tall birds, all kinds of spiders, and werepigs. Any creature beyond these are not affected by the increase in chase time provided by spring. Spiders are really what's interesting in spring though. They get the most aggressive out of all the mobs, because spring not only affects the spiders but affects their nests as well. Normally spider nests would only call out spider warriors if you hit a spider that's on the webbing, but in spring, the range in which warriors pop out increased by 33%. So you should really be careful around spider nests in spring, because they are much more volatile. Bees are much different in spring. Not only will they attack everything, but they generate bees faster and release bees faster from the hives. This affects both bee boxes and wild beehives. The number of bees that come out increases too. Regular bee boxes normally have just 4 bees in them, but in spring, bee boxes have 6 bees. Beehives will only have 5 bees normally, but in spring it will have 7 coming out when you attack them. Wait a minute, those are 6 and 8. And I can't count. It's true that those are 6 and 8, but the reason why is because bees have an emergency bee that spawns when the player attacks the hive or attacks another bee. This only happens when you're near the hive though. This extra bee is why we end up getting up to 6 or 8 bees. You could actually increase the amount of bees that come out of a hive by having more players near it. If you have 7 other players near you when you hit the beehive, up to 15 bees will come out. Pretty cool, but not really spring related. The same also happens with spiders and warriors. This is why maybe sometimes it feels like there are more spiders in a nest than there actually are. Spring also lowers the amount of time it takes for things to grow back by 25%. This benefit only applies to items that are harvested during the spring season itself though. So if you harvest something just as winter turns to spring, it will have a longer time to grow back. Flowers also get a boost in spring for growing. Normally flowers will regrow after it rains after a while, but in spring the growth speed is double. So spring really provides the most resources to players that don't have magical growing powers. But if you're not much of a plant person, you can always burn things. Fires in spring have a 0.667 reduction in range. Now that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Bad in that ground fires used offensively will have a reduced range. But that means that character fires, the ones that happen to creatures when hit by a torch, fire staff, or dart, will be smaller too. Meaning that the player can attack creatures and stun them without the need of fire protection, which can be really nice. And now just for a quick round of things that you may already know exist during spring. Tall bird nests have a chance of spawning a small bird that if left unloaded can potentially grow into a teen bird. This has around a 30% chance of happening, so it won't always happen. Beefaloes also go into heat for the whole season. This affects them everywhere, the surface and the caves. But domesticated beefaloes won't go into heat. And rabbit holes get collapsed, meaning no rabbits. And there's lots and lots of rain. What's strange though is that spring actually has the lowest rain multiplier, even though it has the most rain. This means that it takes more for the floor to get wet in spring than in other seasons. But it doesn't really matter because the rain is 3 times as intense as other seasons, so it kind of balances out. And a strange thing you'll probably never ever see is that if the world temperature somehow gets below -5 degrees in spring, it will turn the rain into snow, which is something you'll never see in game, but I thought it was interesting. I think that's pretty much it for spring. Let me know if you want to hear about the other seasons. They aren't as interesting as spring, but if demand is there, I'll do it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, this has been Tara, and take care.